Yeah, that's all right. What's up, Chris?
Hey, hold on, my headset may not be working. I can't hear a damn thing. You there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, I got you. Sorry, Billy.
That's all right. Yeah, hold on a second. Yeah, Emily.
Yes, Jason.
Hey, oh my God, I hate Craigslist.
I saw your comment, but I didn't see it though.
So I leave the house, right, to go because we got this thing, and apparently it was at 7. I don't know, man. I'm not figuring out how Google translates the start times for these things. I leave the house to go meet this guy, and he's like, "Oh, I can't meet at 7:10. I got to eat. How about 8?" So I'm like, "Okay." So I go back home, and I'm like, "Well, I got something to do at 8." And then he's like, "Okay, we'll go ahead and come now." I'm like, "Oh my God, he's killing me." I think it's just y'all two anyway, because Keith had something to do, and I think Jonathan had something to do. And I never heard back from what is that guy's name? His last name's Tubb.
Yeah,
Billy, not Billy.
James Tubbs.
Yeah. Well, Billy, what were you saying? So you're Eastern, so you're 2 hours ahead of
Yep.
me, right?
You're Central, right?
Yeah, just an hour ahead then.
That's just an
An
hour.
hour. Oh, okay.
Keith and I are both in Eastern. We're both in South Carolina.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He's in Charleston, lower part of the state, and I'm in the upper part of the state.
Well, I mean, I know I've been putting you off for a while, but I would actually like to get this off the ground at some point if we can find a time that's good for everybody. I mean, Billy, you were saying Sunday or Monday nights. Was that right?
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday night.
What time do you like to get done playing? Because I know all of us work.
I can go to 11 or 12 at night, Eastern time, so that's cool with me. It gives you guys a little more time.
Okay, so 10 our time, 11. That's great. That works great for me. I actually don't stay up very late because I get up super early for work. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I get up after being work at 8, but I'm a night owl.
man, I wish I was. Working at Sonic and having kids has broke me of being able to stay up very late.
Yeah, that'll do it. But yeah,
And I would only be good for like twice a month. Is that kind of frequency good for y'all, or?
that's about what I run my Barrel Maze campaign twice a month. Because you don't want to do it too much to burn your stuff out.
Yeah. Are you liking Barrel Maze? I played in Jonathan. I can't remember his last name. He's the guy that runs OSR today. I played in his Barrel Maze game. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, he's a good DM. I actually joined one of his sessions and watched him play before I started running mine. But it was pretty good. The characters got up about second or third level in mine, and then I run a sandbox, so they decided to actually 2 of them got poisoned really bad from these death dogs that attacked the characters, and they decided in order to get healed, because I was using a death and dismemberment table, and they got really messed up. So in order to get healed, I had to go to a city north of where they at because there were no healers in town that could heal them of this ailment that they had. So they took off going across, the continent doing sandbox hex crawl stuff, and they haven't been back yet.
Isn't that something? You design this big hole in the ground and you fill it up, and then they go somewhere else.
Right now they're currently they went to the city, got healed, and then the high priest, because they couldn't pay to get healed, sent them off to the north to a small village to help heal some people up there, and then they got drug into this big volcano where they're trying to figure out what's going on there.
Well, that's kind of similar to the idea I've had. I've been kicking around this campaign idea. It's by no means original. And Jason had said someone's actually done it. I'd like to say I had thought of it first, but obviously not. It's the what's that campaign you're always talking about, Jason? It's the Hex Crawl. sandbox.
I've got a link to it anyway, so I can find the link, the name that he goes by.
But it's what I was thinking is I'd set up a small part of a newly discovered continent, like the north part where you got a long coast and there's a lot of mountains, and they've hired a or someone. It's called the Tea Bags and what I call it, I can't remember. I'll have to look and see what it's called. It's the Tea Bags and Wigs Adventuring Group or something like that, and they're it's owned by a dwarf, Snarfle the Gimpy dwarf, and he's been cursed where he grows blonde, literally elven hair out of his his beard and his mane, and it grows continuously. So he's always cutting it off, and he makes wigs and sells them. So he's gotten quite a bit of money from that. I know it's dumb. It came to me in the shower one night, but anyway, but the premise is everyone rolls up like a small stable of guys. Usually it's like 6. And then all 6 of your potential PCs, it's not a funnel, it's not like DCC. Well, I guess it kind of is, but
with Hackmaster, yeah, it will be.
Yes. Yeah. So anyway, so you go to this outpost, and it's remote, and it's kind of barren. It doesn't have much. And I'd originally designed it for play-by-post, so there'd be a lot of non-combat, like between game session stuff going. But I figured it'd translate well to face-to-face. But either way, so you join, you kind of buy in as a investor in this group, and depending on your shares, that's how you get paid out. All equipment's provided. I mean, technically it's loaned out. If you lose a suit of plate, you're going to owe the company X, whatever it is. But it kind of ignores equipment a lot. It is a lot of resource management. I mean, it's not a lot of bookkeeping. On my end, it is. But the town, if the town's only got 6 pigs and the kobolds attack and eat all the pigs, when nobody gets bacon. So the idea is you kind of have to help manage this town in varying degrees, or not at all. It's up to the players. If you don't want to be involved in that at all, you're not. But I have it set up where even if you level a guy to 4th, and you're like, well, he's going to take his money and buy the tavern from the city, and now it's his, and I'm kind of semi-retire him, and then my other guy's going to play more. And you can kind of rotate through your guys. So I kind of want it to be like that. So it's real dynamic. If Jason plays and has to take a month off for work, his guys just get a job at the stable, and they're doing something for a while. And then if he wants to rotate back in, we can do that. Because that barrel maze campaign is what had really inspired me to do this last year. I like that idea where people can kind of drop in and out. It's a different group every week sometimes, that kind of thing. I mean, that's what I was going for.
Yep. Well, and there's a couple of them that I've looked at in the same kind of vein. The West Marches campaign is kind of an oldest one, and that one's it's sandbox, and they drop you off in the city and let you go out and kind of do hex crawling and stuff like that. But the one that has been inspired me most lately is Fell Tower, it's called, and it's Peter Delorto, who writes for Steve Jackson Games for GURPS, and he's running it with their D&D equivalent, Dungeon Fantasy. And that one, he never has the same players twice. I mean, in a week, it depends on who happens to show up that month or that 2-week period. And they always make sure to end back in town every single time so that it's a new bunch. Next time there's, okay, well, let's go pick up new rumors, make sure we've got the hirelings we want, and off we go.
Right.
And I like the idea of hirelings quite a bit. And I know, and it's kind of fallen by the wayside, mainly because if you ran it the old school way, you technically share experience, and they have a half share in the treasure or whatever it is.
Sure.
And people didn't like that. And it's also a little more to keep up with. But
yeah, it is.
Playing in that barrel maze game reminded me, because people there, they hire a lot of hirelings. It's worth it, you know? I mean, it just is.
I mean, I used the Greg Gillespie's and the other guy, I can't remember his name, who created Meat Shield, that website. That's an awesome resource. Have you seen it?
No, the Meat Shield I have not. I'm sorry, I have not.
Oh, if you have not seen that, then I've got to get a link for you. I mean, that's just wrong that you have not seen that.
I mainly just been. I haven't gotten really deep into any other RPG stuff. Like, I own so much, and I'm finally this year actually trying to make it through the bucket list and play the stuff I have, and I'm getting there. I've played a few systems this year that, or at least messed around with them that I've never used. Jason's teaching me Hero a little bit, 5th edition, and I'd like to get a Hackmaster game off the ground. I really haven't had a big one since 2007 that I've played regularly.
Yeah, I just recently bought some of the books within the past year, and I sat down and read through quite a bit last fall, and rolled up some characters with a friend of mine. We played it locally. We didn't get too far. We started playing their version of B1, and it was hilarious because my friend, the first thing he did when he goes into the entrance, he cuts a left. He finds a secret door, cuts a left, and goes through it and falls into a pit all the way down to the bottom of the dungeon. Already in knee deep.
Yeah,
lands in that pool underneath me.
Yeah, I remember that. I've played B1 a few times. That was one of the first modules of. I didn't have a lot of friends when I was. My few friends I had, and we played B1 the first time. I spent the night with them, and we played it until about 6 a.m. It was awesome.
Yep, great. I think the first one I played was B2, Keep on the Borderlands. Me and another elementary, about 7th or 8th grade, I think. Two of us went over to his house, and he DM'd it. I played a magic user, and my friend played a thief. two of us. Well, he actually, the dungeon master, he played a fighter too, so he played fighter guy while DMing as well. So just the three of us taking on Keep on the Borderlands. As you can imagine, there was a lot of fudging going on.
Well, if fun was had. I've always said if fun was had and everyone's happy, you're playing right. So
that's right.
I can only imagine how badly we ran it because I went through B2 when I was about 9 years old, and so was our DM. I think he was 10. So I can only imagine we were running on about 1/3 rules and 2/3 adrenaline.
Yep. All I can remember was on the cover, because we got the purple box set for basic with Mold Bay. All I can remember is seeing, since I played the magic user, seeing the fireball, and I was like, I had to have that. I wanted to get that spell. I had that fireball spell. So that's because on the cover it's got that lady with the fireball in her hand, getting ready to chunk it at the dragon. So I was always inspired by that.
Man, that Errol Otis, if I remember correctly, that is Errol Otis. But I love those illustrations. Right. I love it, man. Those were because I didn't see those. I had the was it the Frank Mincer with the red dragon and the
red box, yeah.
Yes, that's the one I had. That's one I saw, and I lived in a little town. I mean, you couldn't even buy the stuff in East Texas. You had to go almost to Dallas to buy it when I was little. The first time I saw that, the earlier box set with the one you were talking about, it was really, really cool. I always loved Errol Otis. His stuff, it's weird, but it's just awesome and fitting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. My wife's not excited. I wasn't kidding the other day. I drug my tub out, and I have more, but I've loaned it out. I even think I gave Jeff Johnson. I think I mailed him a set of one of the monster manuals and the GMG and the PHB. But I just, it was dirt cheap for a while. When it went out of, when they lost the license, those last 2 months, they were selling all the books for, I think, $5 each, brand new, out of their warehouse.
I wished I would have got on board then.
Oh, man. And, well, if you hit half-price books and you catch them on a good day, I mean, I find sets of the monster manuals. That's the only part I didn't like about Hackmaster was, if you get the Matrix and the field guide, I think it's 9 or 10 monster manuals, and I think back then they were $20 a piece. You're talking $200 just to get all the monsters. And that was a little bit much for me.
That's ridiculous.
But other than that,
when I got my stuff, I was spending so much time trying to find combat wheel. I was like, somebody's got it.
Yeah, I like the system. I mean, it's still second ed at its core, but I think it's pretty solid. Now, I don't use the honor rules as written. I kind of have my own house rule, a little quicker system. It's because I have used it as written twice, and my God, it slows the game down so bad to track all that crap.
Calculus.
I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's neat, and they had to write it that way, I know, to keep the license, but it's just mechanically unsound, in my opinion. It's just too slow.
What do you think of their new version, or have you looked at it?
I've only glanced at it. I know Jason's looked at it a little bit, and I hear wonderful, wonderful things about it. I hear it's supposed to play well, fast, but still give you some detail. But you know, it's I'm just reluctant to look at it because I like the Force so much.
Yeah,
Looking at the two, it's a different game. I mean, there's a lot of mechanical changes there.
that's what I thought too.
They
I mean,
went
I
at it
read the
with
basic
a
book. I
machete.
looked at it briefly.
Is
So what?
Kinzer does Kinzer still put stuff out? I mean, I don't know if they're putting much out for 5th edition Hackmaster right now.
Aren't they the ones who are putting out fifth?
I think they put a couple of modules out.
Yeah, I just didn't know they were hot stuff for a while because they had that what was their default setting they put out for 3.5? It's Kingdoms of Calamar. That was a big deal for a while. It was pretty well written.
You know, it was funny. You mentioned meat shields earlier. I popped the link in there in the chat box. If you hadn't seen it yet.
Hold on, let me see. Sorry, let me look at it. Here we go.
Yeah, I'm running the 5th edition starter set on Wednesdays. I've got Keith and Eric, a couple of the guys there. They almost had a total party kill last week in 5th edition. I had
Really?
four PCs down and out on the ground making death saving throws. All 4 PCs went 2 and 2. 2 failed, 2 saved. It was up to the last saving throw. And it ended up being 50-50. 2 PCs died and 2 stayed alive because the other guy couldn't get to them fast enough to stabilize them. So,
What death roll does 5th use? Is it 0 or -10?
okay, well, this is how it works. If you get hit for any amount of damage, if you go to 0 or below, you're at 0 hit points and you're unconscious. At that point, every time it's your turn in the initiative, you start making what's called a death saving throw. You have to then make 3 consecutive failures or successes. You get 3 failures, you're dead. 3 successes, you're back at 1 hit point, and you're okay. You come to. But the other rule is the maximum damage. If you take enough negative damage equal to your current maximum hit points, you killed outright. So if you started out with 14 hit points and you get hit for one massive blow, it takes you to -14, you die. For example, if you're down to 2 hit points and you take 16 hit points, you're dead instantly. And the monsters in 5th edition do some serious damage. What they were fighting was a bugbear, and he was doing 2d8 plus 2 damage. So
That's pretty good.
That's enough to single shot a lot of folks.
It was single shot, yeah, because one of the fighters thought he was bad and stood toe-to-toe with him, and then and then I rolled. I was using roll 20, and we rolled. The guy hit, and the bugbear did maximum damage. 16 took him down. And I was rolling hot though, because the next character came up, and I rolled a crit on him and did 4d8 plus 2 damage. So it was pretty ugly.
Yeah. I've heard probably 3 different stories about people running that adventure now, and it's either on the brink of a total party kill or at least to the point where they're all awful tense.
Yeah. It depends on how the characters take it, because the way they were going in, they sort of took the back way into the chamber where this bugbear and his wolf and 2 goblin buddies were at. But it was up a steep 45-degree incline. And the characters have to make an acrobatics or athletics check to climb up this incline to sneak into the back part of the cave system. Well, 2 party members got up there, and I ruled that in order to keep quiet in that part of the section of the cave, not to draw attention from the wolf, really, it would probably pick them up first, and the bugbears detecting them, they had to make a stealth check. So instead of doing that, they elected to, the 2 fighters that got with it, so it was a fighter and a dwarf cleric who got up first. They decided to just charge the bugbear and get surprise. So they got a round of surprise initiative, but it was only 2 characters. The rest of them had to spend 2 turns climbing up that incline to get up there. Yep.
Hey, one sec, guys. I'm going to go mute real quick. Somebody's calling me from Craigslist. Give me like 2 minutes.
Sure. They ended up attacking piecemeal, so that sort of hurt them.
Yeah, that's not... Obviously, if you can't bring all your force to bear, that's going to cause problems. 2 first-level characters is going to have a rough time against a bugbear in any situation.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry about that. I must have been reading another one. I was digging through a lot of ads today. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I'll get the
So-
ghosts and those other 3.
What are you thinking about the mechanics in 5 so far? What do you like? What do you don't like?
I can be there in like 4 or 5
I like the advantage-disadvantage mechanic. I've seen a lot of other people comment about that too.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of having to worry about a whole bunch of different modifiers, what happens in this situation, what happens in this situation, it usually takes care of all those mechanics by being just an advantage or disadvantage. Now, you don't always get it. For example, there is no rule yet that I have seen for flanking, but I ruled that if a character is flanking another creature, that they get an advantage on their attack rolls. Now, that may come out in the player's handbook in August. I don't know. But that's how I ruled it. And even with that, they couldn't manage to take out that bugbear.
I want to say somebody said that there was a rule about that involving thieves and backstabbing. That they could they could backstab if someone else was distracting the creature by attacking it, which is kind of the equivalent of a flanking attack.
Yeah, the sneak attack, which is interesting because that's the one player character that I did not have experience with yet because none of the players picked rogue. Actually, one of the guys who came to the game rolled up his own character from the basic PDF rules, so we didn't have a thief.
Oh, gotcha.
He has Ghost too, but Ghost also, and it's the same price. So that's why I was thinking.
But let's see, what else do I like about it? Haven't made up my mind yet on all the healing surges stuff. But really, only the fighters get the second wind healing surges. During combat, they can decide to use the second wind as a bonus action. So they can make their attack, and then as a bonus action, they can do second wind and roll, 1d10 and get that many hit points back. The rest of the player races or classes can't do that.
Got it.
But when they go, say, they're out of combat and they go take a short rest, everybody can roll their hit dice. So a cleric would roll, I think, 1d6, no, 1d8. A fighter would roll 1d10, and that's considered like an hour's rest, and they get that many hit points back. Now, you can only do that once a day. So at first level, you only have 1 die roll. At 5th level, you would have 5 you could potentially roll. But however many you roll, you can only use it once per day.
Which is reasonable. I mean, you shouldn't be able to just heal up automatically like that, but yeah.
But true. And I think where a lot of people get upset is during a long rest. A long rest is considered resting at night for 8 hours. You get all your hit points back. That's the big one I think people complain about.
So overnight you get 100% hit points back, 8 hours.
That's right. That's right.
That's nuts.
Crazy. Yeah, I can see that driving people crazy. I mean, that's really pretty out of control.
Well,
yeah.
I think it's more. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Billy.
Like I was saying earlier, the monsters hit a lot harder in this. They're doing a lot more damage. So I don't know if it balances out in the long run. I mean, we're going to continue to play, and we'll see how it works when the characters get higher up.
Well, it definitely sounds like the high fantasy Gygax hinted at when hit points were more. What did he say? Favor of the gods and less. I can take so much physical damage, And that's really what it sounds like.
The core of physical damage and a whole lot more luck and divine influence and
your skill as a fighter or whatever. Yeah, I agree with that. And you're really only taking serious damage when you hit, a couple hit points or less, and that represents the killing blow.
Sure.
So, Jason, what days were you available for playing?
It sounds like we're on the same page. I tend to prefer evenings. I'm good with Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Tuesday is really my best day because the wife is out that day pretty much every week for a class she does. So I'm pretty flexible in that regard, but definitely can pull off Tuesday nights and don't see real trouble with most Sundays and Mondays.
Well,
I think Keith is usually available Tuesday nights too, because we were just going to set up something on Tuesday night before.
Does he stay up pretty late, or does he go to bed?
He's military, so he's used to getting up at 0 dark 30. Former military, so yeah.
There's a lot of military guys I know on Google Plus. I mean, a lot of military gamers or ex-military. A lot of guys are into games, especially locally. They're into the miniature games a ton.
Yeah, he's in, I think, former Air Force. He was a Desert Storm.
Well, why don't we? I mean, I'm sure. I don't know how interested. Keith seemed fairly interested if we could get a time hammered out. I hadn't talked to Jonathan, but I mean, Tuesdays are fine with me. And if it had to be, I know some of the guys had mentioned Monday. If we had to go like, 2 Tuesdays and 2 Mondays or something, every other month, I mean, we could figure something out.
Yeah, I think so.
I think as long as we talk about it in advance, we can float the days. Just have
Oh, yeah.
two as our standard, but then, because my other game, my GURPS game, is every other Thursday, but we occasionally will float to a Tuesday just because, he's got softball on Thursday or something. That kind of.
Oh yeah, real life. It's always rearing its head.
Yep.
I'll tell you. Well, all right. I mean, I will. I mean, I think we should at least try it and see what happens. And I'm a big boy. If we do it and it ain't no fun or it ain't working, we can always stop.
Yeah.
But
That's blood. If somebody drops out, it'll work one way or another.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if I can find it. I've got an app that helps you turn guys out, because really the character creation process is pretty lengthy.
I was going to say, do we want to have a first meeting just to get together and go over character generation?
Yeah, I think so.
Makes sense.
We roll them all into the hangout.
How about a week from Tuesday? That'll give me time to. I lost a hard drive, 800 gigs of stuff, and it had a little bit of the prep on it. I just want to make sure I'm ready to go on the first couple hexes, and especially the home hex, and I want to populate the town. I kind of go whole hog when I do stuff like this. So, but I would be ready to make characters. I mean, we probably could make characters this coming Tuesday if y'all wanted, but I wouldn't be ready to play for 2 weeks probably.
Well, I'll be honest with you. That's one of the weeks that we did flex the GURPS game to Tuesday. So I was kind of hoping to make it either probably not tomorrow, but 2 weeks from tomorrow. I mean, we could do an earlier character prep session. I wouldn't need to be there necessarily for that. I could just put together some characters or whatever. But
that works for me.
What's 6th or 5th or whatever the next Tuesday is.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's plan on that, and then I don't run too many house rules. I'm trying to think. I'll write them down, but there's not very many. I just like slightly tweaking stuff, going bad shit crazy. Well, I mean, I've played it a bunch, but it's clean enough for me that it works. Really, it's. I don't know how much you've read it, Billy, but it's really 90% second edition, with some cleaning up and editing.
Yeah. Do you use the armor rules?
I was thinking about that last night.
The deterioration of armor after every
game? I have once, and it was really a nightmare. I was trying to think of a good way to implement it, yet not make it so detailed. I don't know yet. Probably, if you had to pin me down, I'd say no right now.
This is what I experienced. I mean, just the one game, I've only ran one session where Cliff and I was playing, and that B1, and we fell down into that pit because I had him directing where we were going. We came across the troglodytes, claw bite routine. One of his guys had leather armor. Well, halfway through that fight, the leather armor was already shredded.
Yeah, it's a little rough. I don't know. I think they put it in there as a resource drain. I just don't think.
Something to make you spend your money to repair.
Yeah, but it's just. I think you can get their money other ways, And plus, I don't know. It's just too much. I understand what they were doing with the system. They wanted to.
Of it, where maybe at the end of every battle you roll to see if there's been some damage, not in mid-play,
Yeah, and it's weird the way it works.
It does, well, if your thief, somebody in leather armor is fighting front lines, then you messed up already anyhow. But hey, sometimes it happens.
I don't know. There was a video. I don't know if you saw it. I posted it a couple weeks ago about how cloth armor really works, and man, that stuff is tough. I mean, it is tough. I mean, it was stopping arrows, and now granted, this was like around, I think it was 400 BC tech, but so is that the Bronze Age? I don't think they weren't doing steel then, were they?
No, at that point.
Yeah. So I mean, but still, I mean, these guys were basically walking juggernauts back then in 2-inch thick cloth armor. So, and leather in a fantasy world is at least as tough, if not tougher than that. So
Yeah.
I say we just either leave it or maybe make a saving throw at the end of combat if you take a crit or something like that, something simple.
That sounds cool.
Because that way it'll just be so much easier to keep up with. I mean, a full 20% of the character sheet is for tracking armor.
I think one of the cool things in the game is exploding dice.
Oh my God, broadsword 2d4. That is one of the deadliest weapons in the game. It is really, really good.
Yeah, because odds is 1 in 4 chance you're going to hit a exploding dice.
Oh man, it's if you can find a magical broadsword, a +1 magical broadsword is better than a +3 longsword. I swear to you, I swear it is. Because that 10% greater chance to hit is nothing compared to the fact you can do like 30 points of damage with one of those things. And Hackmaster has a threshold of pain, and it's similar to the 5th ed damage equal to your hit points type deal. You can hit somebody, and if you do 25% of their hit points in one round, they have to make a saving throw. They fall down. I believe it's stunned and incapacitated for quite a few rounds. So it's a pretty big deal. I like the system. I would recommend everybody, if you don't have it, I'll upload the PDF. But print out a few sheets of the gamer shield, like the player character shield, and it has all the relevant tables. That really speeds up play. It helps you. If somebody asks you, what's your weapon speed? Well, you'll already know it because it's on there.
I don't have the player shield. I've got the Game Master guide, the player's handbook. I've got the Game Master shield, which is the biggest shield I've ever seen in my life.
I love that thing. I have 3 of those. I bought 3 just in case I wear a couple out.
I bought that thing, opened up, and I was like, "You got to be freaking kidding me!"
Yeah, it's got something like 30 panels.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That the combat wheel goes for $60 now. Have you seen that?
That's what I've been trying to get. Yeah.
We put a few together. I'll mail you one. I have like 9 of them. We just photocopied it and laminated it and used a little Brad made some. They come in. I'm telling you, they come in real handy.
That's awesome.
Real handy. Well, either way, well, let's shoot for that. If y'all are good, I'm gonna go try to meet this guy on Craigslist. I hate to jet on y'all, but let's do that, and then I'll start posting some relevant stuff in the community. And if y'all think anybody, just invite them to that community. We'll get them to play. I know it sounds dumb, but I think it'd be neat to try it with 6 people, 7 people. Even if they're just trying it out for the first time. I don't mind new people.
Yeah. I'll send some invites. Cool.
Well, all right, we got to beat this random person up and get me an Xbox game.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Good meeting you guys.
Yep, definitely.